Hey guys, thank you for joining. We'll give it a minute more for other people to join in as well. Yeah, we'll give it a couple of seconds. I see people are joining in. Happy Monday, everyone. Hope everyone's weekend was good. I personally had a very busy weekend. One of those weekends where you need a weekend after a weekend. So, but hey, it's Monday. Good to be back in. Let's, I think let's get started. We'll get started as people keep joining in as well. That way we're on time. I'll share my screen. As I said, I hope everyone had a great weekend. This is webinar 3 of the series of 4 webinars that we've got. Today, what we're doing, we're shifting from individual productivity to team leverage. Because here's the truth. Copilot can save you, up to 2 hours a day, but when your entire team uses it strategically, you can unlock 20 to 50 hours a week of collective capacity. Now, that's the difference between a tool and a competitive advantage. A quick recap. I see most of the people that are in the audience today are the regular people who have joined us in the past, which is fantastic to see. I do see some new faces. So, quick recap of webinar 1 and 2. Webinar 1 was Copilot. What is Copilot? Why it matters? A little bit of a free versus pro comparison. And webinar 2 was a lot of live demos where we demoed email drafting, meeting summaries, etc., and how to prompt basically. Now, before we dive into solutions in webinar 3, let's talk about the problem. The average employee is spending close to about 20 to 23 hours per month in unproductive meetings. What I mean is they're in the meetings for the sake of being in the meetings. That's nearly 3 full work days of a lot of conversations, but with no outcome. Now they're spending about 2.5 hours every day, switching between different apps. So your emails, Teams, SharePoint, basically trying to find the information. And research has found that 60% of work time is spent on work about work, status updates, coordinating, searching for documentation, information. That is a productivity problem. Basically, that's exactly what Copilot is going to solve when deployed at team level. Basically, the ROI simply doubles when deployed properly. We're going to talk about a use case. Basically, it's summarizing your team's chat. Now, if you use Microsoft Copilot for meetings, you know the problem. If you've had a meeting or if you are away for a few days, you come back, there's a bunch of channels, meetings, you know, 200, 300 messages that you have to go through. And a lot of times people would tag you, but a lot of times people don't. So if there's 100 message Teams chat and you've not been tagged, but you've been asked a question, it's going to be a nightmare for you to go through all that. Now, you're going to be spending 30 minutes to 45 minutes going through all that chat history and getting to that point or getting to what you need to do. Basically, I'm going to show you how you can end that today. So we've got a prompt here. What we're going to do is we're going to summarize a Teams chat. So I have created a dummy Teams chat that I'm going to show you. Now, this chat is a dummy chat. We're going to ask Copilot to summarize this. That's a simple prompt. Summarize the last channel post, highlight key decisions, and action items. There you go. Now, what Copilot has done, it has taken that chat, the last conversation that was being had, and it's given you action items with owners. So who needs to do what? It's giving you dates. It's giving you all the important information. And this is what I'm talking about when deploying Copilot properly. If you deploy it properly, it knows how you work with it. It knows what you prompt. It knows how you prompt. So keeping that in mind, it will give you the next thing that you will most likely need or ask for. So in this case, you can see it's asking me, we can turn this into a one-page executive status update, convert action items into task lists, and you can drop into planner to do whatever. So it's got a lot of actions that you can do afterwards with this chat. So it summarizes it for you. It's ready to be shared. Now, this is exactly what I was just talking about. After summarizing it, what basically you're saving 30 minutes per person per day. So for a 10-person team, that's 50 hours per month. That's equivalent to 1.25 full-time employees worth of capacity without hiring anyone. Now, one of our clients actually eliminated 3 weekly status meetings because their team could read Copilot summaries instead of sitting in meetings and, emailing each other back and forth, finding out what was typed in the chat that they were part of. Another use case is creating shared project plans. Now, a lot of time is spent at start of every project building the plan, defining phases, assigning owners, setting milestones, creating the timeline. Most teams are spending before the start of any project, 10 to 15 hours in planning phase alone, before any real work is done. A Copilot can turn those hours into minutes. Now, here's how it works. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a prompt, and I'm going to give that prompt to Copilot, the same chat that you saw earlier. And what it's going to do, it's going to draft a project timeline for a marketing campaign. And with 4 phases: planning, creative development, launch, and post-launch analysis. And we're going to include key milestones, timelines, placeholders for each owners, and what each individual is supposed to do. So I'm going to copy this prompt and paste it into the same Teams chat that we had earlier. Continuing from the same place. There we go. All 4 phases, project timeline, each campaign, who's the owner, what needs to be done, who needs to do what. So for each phase, you got a very detailed timeline that can be shared between teams. So, if you had a meeting that the whole team is part of, this can summarize, can be sent to the whole team. Everyone knows what each phase is, what's part of each phase, who's in charge, what are the key milestones, and what are the tasks. Two places where teams waste a lot of time, that is before and after meetings. Before someone starts a meeting, they have to manually draft an agenda by reading through, some emails that they've sent. There's a chat history relating to that meeting. So they have to go through all that and draft, the agenda through it. After the meeting, someone's spending 30 minutes to 45 minutes writing follow-up notes, going through the notes, emailing action items. Copilot can handle both within seconds. Before the meeting starts, you can ask Copilot to create an agenda based on the email thread or the Teams chat or wherever that information is. And after the meeting, you can ask it to draft a follow-up email with decisions, next steps, key points. Now you've just saved 2 hours. Fast and easy. Now here's the prompt. Meeting agenda, and I'm going to use the same chat that you saw earlier. That's a client kickoff meeting. Now, key thing to keep in mind here is the meeting itself. It had a lot of information, which was company sensitive, team sensitive, because it had the marketing plan, Q1 numbers, tasks for each person to do. Now you've asked Copilot to create a meeting agenda for the client. So what it's done, it's keeping that information in mind. It's giving you the agenda that you need to talk to the customer about, but not giving you specific numbers, but what you need to do in order to achieve those numbers. So it's smartly giving you what you need to do in order to achieve the agenda or the achievables that are your company achievables. So that's literally saved you 30 minutes, 45 minutes right there. And that you can use to have the meeting with a customer, and then you can tailor a marketing, IT, or consulting project response, 30-minute version, client-ready slide as well. You can do all that from just this. Now, there are 4 best practices that, for team adoption that that we've seen. Individual adoption is easy, but team adoption requires a bit of structure. So let's go into a bit more detail on these 4 practices. Best practice number 1 is building a prompt library. So if you use Teams, your SharePoint is set up properly, we would recommend building a shared prompt library. What happens is someone like me, I would come in and create a prompt that I think is the best prompt to summarize a Teams meeting. Someone else has done exactly the same, but a little differently. So the outcome could be different. So we're both just wasting time. So instead, create a Teams channel or a SharePoint page where all these proven prompts are there. So label them clearly, weekly sales report prompt, client update, email summarization, meeting summary, all that sort of stuff. Label it correctly so no one has to start from scratch. and they can just copy the prompt that the team has already used and it's tried and tested. That's how you scale knowledge. Best practice number 2, set clear usage guidelines. Not every task should go through Copilot without review. Meeting summaries, email drafts, legal contracts, human review is required. 100%. The guideline is simple. Copilot accelerates, but humans verify. Define your team. What's Copilot approved? Meeting notes, emails, reports, that's okay, that's approved. You can use that. Versus what requires expert review, like legal information, financial, confidential HR matters. They require some kind of review. This prevents mistake and builds trust. And one of the best practices of scaling Copilot. Best practice number 3 is start small and then scale from there. And 4, track team adoption. Now, pick one meeting summary. For example, train 2 to 3 power users in your team. So the mistake I see a lot of people make is they'll see Copilot. Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Let's, give it to the whole team. Half the team ends up not using it. So the licenses are just sitting there. There's no team adoption happening. So train 2 to 3 power users that you think can benefit from it the most. Let them prove the value. After 30 days, then expand to the rest of the team, or maybe 2 months. And then track it. Ask your team weekly, how many hours did Copilot have saved them? What worked with Copilot? What didn't work with Copilot? Share the wins. If you did something that amazed you or saved you hours, share that win so the whole team can do the same. Refine the prompts. Monthly optimization sessions keep the momentum high. Now at Lookup, we help clients with adoption tracking, and you can see exactly where the ROI is coming from. Now let's do another quick demo. What I'm going to ask Copilot is simple. I'm going to ask it to update. Let me get that prompt. And get that Teams meeting. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask Copilot to summarize the project progress from Q1 campaign over the last week and draft an email update. Right? So I'm going to get that prompt. Give me a sec. It's having some issues. Oh. There you go. A structured email ready to be sent. What's complete? What's in progress? Next steps with deadlines. That could take hours for you to read through the messages, checking task lists, drafting Copilot, did it in 30 seconds. That's team leverage. And of course, you can use that to actually do a lot more. So exec level updates, external client communication, dashboards, PowerPoint slides. You can do a lot from here. Now, in this session, as you saw, we saw how you can use Copilot for team leverage, how you can scale within your team. Next week is our final session, webinar 4, which is advanced Copilot strategies and what's next in AI. In that webinar, we'll be going to discuss all that and we'll go a bit more deeper into it. Advanced prompting for complex multi-step tasking, how to build custom workflows specific to your business, and what Microsoft is releasing in 2026, 7, and beyond, and AI in general, what's coming, how it's going to change everything. And of course, I'll be sharing a real client case study where we help the client save multiple hours per week using systematic Copilot deployment. Now, here's what I want you to do in the next 48 hours. If not done already, register for webinar 4, which is, as I said, which is going to be our final webinar. With all the stuff that you saw today, pick one thing and demo it yourself. See how it works. And in webinar 4, I want you to ask me any questions about what you've experimented with. Now, what we can do, if you got any questions, we can help analyze your workflows and identify what is the highest ROI use case. And we can actually help you build your implementation roadmap. For that, you can email me directly as well. Another thing, after this session, I will be sending out a Copilot self-assessment for everyone. It's a